Shalom. Hello everyone. Welcome to our video series on learning our catechism lessons for class 6. Today we shall study the lesson The Judges. This lesson is about the different judges who guided Israel. So dear children, after the death of Joshua, the judges led the people of Israel. The judges were commissioned by God to protect the tribes who had settled down in the land of Canaan. The people of Israel who entered the land of Canaan and settled down there accepted many lifestyles and modes of worship for the Canaanites. The people who had agreed in the covenant at Shechem to be faithful to God, made under the leadership of Joshua, showed infidelity to God. The anger of God blazed against the people who violated the agreement. God punished the people who rejected him by leaving them in the hands of enemies. Whenever the people repented about their faults and entreated God, God released them by raising the judges from among them. Do you know how many judges were there in Israel? Well, there were 12 judges in the history of Israel. The history of the last few is not written in the Bible. The chief judges are Deborah, Gideon, Jephthah, Samson, and Samuel. Come, let us find out few things about these wonderful people. Deborah. Deborah was the prophetess and judge of Israel. Deborah and Barak were called and separated by God in order to save the people of Israel from the slavery of Jabin, king of the Canaan. It was the Lord who led the war and gave victory to the Israelites. Gideon. The people of Israel did evil against God. Hence, the Lord handed them over to the Midianites, their enemies. Therefore, the life of the Israelites became intolerable. God called Gideon to deliver the Israelites from the hands of the enemies. Even though the Lord asked Gideon to fight against the Midianites, he tried to evade, saying that he was weak. I will be with you. Judges chapter 6 verses 16. So saying, God strengthened Gideon. Gideon asked for a sign to confirm that it was the Lord who sent him. The Lord gave a sign as Gideon had requested. Gideon chose 300 as instructed by the Lord from among the 32,000 Israelites who came prepared to fight. He gave victory to the people of Israel over the enemies under the leadership of Gideon. Thus, God revealed his providence to Israel, his own people. Gideon continued to lead the people of Israel. Jephthah. When the Ammonites attacked the Gileadites of Israel, the Gileadites installed the strong and brave Jephthah as their leader. He sought the help of the Lord to conquer the Ammonites. The Lord handed over the Ammonites to Jephthah. Jephthah made judgment in Israel for 6 years. Samson. The Philistines were the strongest enemy the Israelites had to confront with. The land with the tribe of Dan as their share was near the Philistine cities. The Philistines used to attack the tribes of Dan. It was during that period that Samson was born to Manoah from his barren wife, according to the plan of God. Samson was the person whom God chose and prepared in order to release the people of Israel from the dominion of the Philistines. An angel revealed the divine plan about him while he was in his mother's womb. Samson was prevented from drinking wine or intoxicating drinks. The angel had also instructed that the barber's razor should not be used on his head, for God had chosen him for the vow of Nazir. The Nazarites were forbidden to marry from among the Gentiles. Samson married Delilah, a Philistine woman, against the will of God. Delilah decided to deceive Samson at the compulsion of the Philistines. Delilah understood that the strength of Samson was in his hair. When he was fast asleep, she shaved his head. Thus, the Philistines carried away Samson, who had lost his strength. They plucked out the eyes of Samson, who was under their custody. Samson was exhibited as an object of ridicule at a big festival. The dishonored Samson prayed to the God to receive strength to avenge the Philistines. Inspired by the Spirit of God, Samson held one of the pillar of the house in which he was tied with his right hand and another left hand, and shook them violently. The building collapsed and fell on all the enemies. All who had gathered there along with Samson died. Thus Samson took revenge on the Philistines. Samson was judge over Israel for about 20 years. Samuel was the last judge in Israel. He was the son of Elkanah and Hannah of the tribe Ephraim. Samuel was born with a special blessing of God due to the heartfelt prayer of barren Hannah. She had promised that if she bore a son, she would dedicate him for the service of Yahweh. Accordingly, she dedicated Samuel in the house of God at Shiloh. Under the protection of Eli, the priest, Samuel did the service of the church and grew in the Spirit of God. One night, Samuel was lying in the church near the ark of God. Then the Lord called him, "Samuel, Samuel." He heard the call. Thinking that his master Eli had called him, Samuel went near him, and he told us, "You called me? Here I am." Eli replied, "I did not call you. Go and lie down." Samuel went and lay down. Again the Lord called Samuel, but he did not understand it was God. When the Lord called Samuel the third time, Eli understood it was the Lord who called him. Therefore Eli told Samuel, "If you are called again, answer, 'Lord, speak. Your servant listens.'" Samuel went and lay down. Again the Lord called him. Samuel did as Eli had told him. God revealed to Samuel about the imminent judgment to fall on that family due to the evil deeds of the sons of Eli. 1 Samuel chapter 3 verses 1 to 14. Samuel was a powerful judge and prophet. After the death of Samuel, royal rule started in Israel. Israel became an organized force with the royal rule. Let us pray to God to make us strong like these judges, to be wise in leading and guiding our own lives, as well as the lives of our friends and all those whom we love. In the third Karma of the night on Thursday, we recall in Zehimo, God's calling of Samuel and making him judge of Israel. Let us do. When the judges fulfilled their special mission, it was a blessing to the people of Israel. Let us try to fulfill the mission God entrusts us in our daily life. Then it will be a blessing to us. Samuel teaches us to obey is better than sacrifice. 1 Samuel chapter 15 verses 22. Let us sing.
രാവിൽ സ്മോയേലിനെ ദൈവം വിളിച്ചവനെ ഇസ്രായേലിൽ ഭരണം ചെയ്വാൻ നായകനാക്കി രാവിൽ നിന്നാരാധകതൻ ഹൃദയം ങ്ങളിൽ നീ വാഴേണം.
Let us memorize. Human success is in the hand of the Lord, and it is He who confers honor upon the lawgiver. Sirach chapter 10 verses 5. Stay tuned for more upcoming lessons and to learn further. Shalom! Bye! See you in the next class.